If I knew then what I know now, I honestly don't know if I would have started this kind of company. Not because I don't love what I do, because I absolutely do love what I do. My company helps transportation agencies communicate with the public about projects that improve people's community. And I genuinely love that work. But what nobody tells you is how incredibly difficult this specific business model actually is. When most people think about owning a business, they think you go, you find a client, you do the work, you send an invoice, and you get paid. And I wish that this industry worked that way. But let me tell you what actually happened last week. And honestly, this is a very common occurrence. I flew from Colorado to Texas because we've spent the last 4 years building the business there. I had a great meeting with one of our clients. We're on 2 different contracts with them, which sounds like amazing news. And honestly, it really is, except we don't actually have any work yet. One project was headed our way, and then at the end, the client decided to change directions. So now we wait again. That is consulting. That is the consulting business. A lot of people think winning the contract means you won the work. And sort of, but it doesn't really mean that. Winning the contract simply means you've earned the opportunity to wait for the work. Sometimes that work comes in a month, sometimes it comes in 6 months, and sometimes it never comes at all. Meanwhile, me, are trying to run a business. You're hiring people. You're trying to keep great employees. You're planning budgets. You're forecasting revenue. You're making decisions based on the work that may or may not actually happen. And that's only the beginning. Now let's talk about cash flow. Because honestly, this is a part that almost nobody outside of the consulting world understands. Most of the time, we, in my company, are a subconsultant. That means another company hires us to do a portion of the work. So we are a part of a larger team. We do our work. Our team works for an entire month. Then we send an invoice. The prime consultant sends the invoice to the client, and then we wait. The client might take 30 days, might take 45, might take 60 days to pay. And the prime consultant always gets paid first, then usually within a week or 2 weeks, we get paid, but only after they get paid. Think about what that means. By the time I receive payments for the very first month that we've worked, I paid payroll for 6 different pay periods. That's basically 3 months. I have to carry payroll, insurance, benefits, software, rent, everything overhead, all before the money from that first month ever arrives. People look at consulting companies and assume that because you're winning projects, you're making money. But the reality is revenue and cash flow are 2 completely different things. You can have a healthy business on paper and still lose sleep wondering when the next payment is actually going to hit your bank account. For a long time, I thought this uncertainty was just a part of being an entrepreneur. Then I realized something else. I can't eliminate uncertainty as an entrepreneur, but I can become much better at being able to see it. That's exactly why I've spent the last year building these AI dashboards for my company. I wanted to stop making decisions based on, I hope we get paid. I wanted visibility. I wanted to know where the gaps are before we had emergencies. These dashboards are not replacing my judgment. They are helping me to make better decisions. And honestly, that is a very welcome change. If you are thinking about starting a consulting company, I don't want this video to scare you. I just want you to understand what nobody explained to me. This business can be incredibly rewarding, and it is. We've worked on projects that genuinely make communities better. I've built relationships I'll have for the rest of my life, and I've worked with some of the smartest people I've ever met. But this business also requires resilience. You have to get comfortable with uncertainty. You have to learn how to manage cash flow, and you have to think months ahead instead of just looking at what's happening today. And maybe that's the biggest lesson that entrepreneurship has taught me, honestly. Success isn't about avoiding uncertainty. It's about learning how to lead through it. So I'm curious, if you own a business, what's the one thing that nobody warned you about before you started it? I would love to hear your story in the comments. And if you'd like to follow along as I continue building my AI operating system and documenting what it really looks like to run multiple companies, I would love to have you here. I'm Jennifer McPherson. This is the AI CEO. And remember, the companies that win in the next decade won't be the ones using AI to work faster. They'll be the ones using AI to think better. I'll see you in the next episode.